Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is part 2 in our 5-part series for especially new members or people that are just getting on to BNI Connect for the first time. Today we're going to be talking about the giving and tracking of referrals online through BNI Connect, and really the whole online slips program, because it's more than just the referrals. It's also the one-to-ones and the thank you for closed business and the CEUs, being able to track all that information through BNI Connect. It really does make your membership and your vice president's life a lot easier, because this automatically gets entered into POMS reports, and it retains all of the information going forward as opposed to just the statistics in the POMS report. Before we get started on the content for today, just a couple of housekeeping things. The first of which is that this is a live webinar. So that means if you have any questions as we're going through the material today, please do feel free to ask those questions. Be happy to answer them as we're going through the materials, or at the end, I always open it up for any questions that you might have. The best way to ask these questions is to please type them into the GoToMeeting software. There's a little space that says enter questions. This webinar is scheduled for approximately 30 minutes. It takes about 30 minutes to go through the content and how to do the online slips. That being said, I will always stay on these calls until every single question is answered. So whether that takes 5 minutes or 50 minutes, I will gladly stay here as long as it takes. We're also recording these webinars. Webinars are made available in a couple of different places, usually within a day or two of the webinar finishing. I do have to convert them, and then I upload them to our YouTube channel and support site. The YouTube channel, you can find youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. Again, that's youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. Here's where you will find all of our recorded content. So it has our webinars as well as a ton of other content. So it has things like education moments, for example, short 3 to 5 minute videos on specific topics, as well as hundreds of webinars that we've done over the years. Most of them are similar in content because we do the same series every month, but the questions are usually different. You'll also find our material on the support site. So you can get to the support site. If I go back to BNI Connect here, if I click on this question mark in the upper right-hand corner, that will take us over to the support site. And you'll see our series of live webinars and the registration links. A good referral for me is to please pass these on to your chapter members. And you'll also see all of our documentation, including the recorded webinars here, as well as guides for just about every other part of the system. So let's go ahead and get started with today's material. Again, we're going to be talking about the online slips. Now, I'm a member, by the way. I became a member in 2002. I've been a member of the Wakefield chapter here in the great state of Rhode Island. So I've been a member for over 13 years now. When BNI Connect came along and this particular feature was introduced in about 2012. This was one of the biggest upgrades to my membership that I ever had. Now, I've always, we always pass referrals and things like that, and we've always had the POMS report. So, once a quarter or once a year, we'd get a result and say, hey, you passed, 52 referrals this year, and you had 72 dance cards or one-to-one meetings, and you had so many thousands of dollars in thank you for closed business. And that was about it. But as the years have gone on, and I've been submitting these online slips for the past couple of years, it allows me to really speed up the referral process, so I can input a referral anytime, any day, and it will send it via email as well to my referral partner. So that helps to speed it up as opposed to waiting until your chapter meeting and passing the piece of paper along. But it also records the details going forward, so I can always go back and look at both the referrals that I've received online through BNI Connect and the referrals that I've given, as well as the details, who I met with, not just how many one-to-ones I've had, but who is it that I've met with? Who is it that I've done thank you for closed business for? So that's what we're going to be looking at today. So what you're looking at right now is what you see when you first log into BNI Connect. Now, everything about the online slips you can do right from this home screen. So it's all right here. Taking a tour of the home screen here, at the top we have the My BNI Business. Now, this report is basically your statistics, your personal statistics in BNI. So it'll show you your referrals and the thank you for closed business and the referrals given and the visitors, the one-to-one CEUs. So those are all the things that we have been reporting on forever in BNI. And these statistics will be here regardless of whether you're just turning in paper slips at the chapter meeting or whether you are using the online process here in BNI Connect. A couple of notes about this particular report. The first of which is that those numbers will only change on a weekly basis after your meeting has happened and after your vice president has submitted the POMS report for the week. So even if you're using the online process, those numbers here at the top will not change right away. What happens is that they're put in as drafts, and then after your vice president has taken attendance and things like that, then those numbers will become part of the official statistics, and those numbers there will change. One other note about this is that you'll see that there's a number here at the top of the list, and it's revenue received to my business. Another way of saying that is how much money have I made in BNI, or what is my return on investment? Traditionally in BNI, we've always just recorded the giver side. So we've recorded, when we say thank you for closed business, is how much money has other people thanked you for. So how much money have you generated for other people? And that is the statistic that we've kept track of for all these years. When you use the online slips, and by the way, there's no place in the POMS report to record the other side of it. But when you use the online slips, now we can start to keep track of this for you. So when you thank somebody else for closed business, that'll go into the POMS report that they generated that money. However, we'll keep tabs on how much you're thanking other people for. That number and the details of that will remain private to you. So this revenue received to my business number atop is essentially a sum of all the things that I've thanked other people for. That number is private to me, so except for the fact that I'm sharing my screen with you right now, nobody else in BNI can see that amount of money that I've made in BNI. One thing that you may say, or we've heard people say, is that, oh, that doesn't seem right. You know, I've given more than 29 referrals this year. I've had, more than 2 visitors. You can always check what's going on a week-by-week basis in the POMS report by looking at this My Personal Participation report at the top. So this will give you a week-by-week what has happened in the last 12 months. So if you see an error in any of these numbers, the best thing to do is to just click this link here for My Personal Participation report. And this will show you what was entered for you every week into the POMS report. So you can see, let's say that you feel that you weren't absent so many times. You can see exactly which weeks you were marked as having been absent, or which weeks you were marked as having a substitute. You can also troubleshoot this and say, oh, you know what, on October 22nd, I had actually given 2 referrals. So if that could be updated, that's something that you could talk to your vice president about. At the bottom of this report, it'll also give you your attendance summary right here in this box. It will also show you how many members you have sponsored into the group and any training that you've attended in the past 12 months. And again, this is all available in the personal POMS report. Now the bottom of the page here has a whole bunch of links on it, and this is where we go to do the submitting of the various types of slips. We have, we have the 4 different types of slips here at the top. So we have the thank you for closed business slips, the referral slips, one-to-one slips, and CEU slips. So let's say that I wanted to submit a referral slip to someone. Now, I'm just going to switch over to my test system here. As I mentioned, I am a member, so I don't really want to go in and mess up my own personal statistics. So I'm just jumping over to the training system now. Let's say I want to submit a referral slip. I'm going to go ahead and click this Submit Referral Slip. Now, hopefully, this looks familiar. It's the same type of slip, the same type of paper slip that we would normally pass at our meeting on a weekly basis. The difference really is just that it is an electronic slip. So here we can choose somebody from our chapter by clicking on the drop-down box. Now, for example, let's say that I have a referral for, I don't know, John Barth. John Barth has a very interesting profession in our chapter. He sells compost. He owns a composting farm. So let's say that I'm going to be referring him to a landscaper that's looking to get rid of all of his leaves and composting materials, and he's going to give them to this farm. So this is for Lou's Landscaping. I can put in whether it's a Tier 1 or a Tier 2 referral. For those of you that aren't sure what that is, a Tier 1 referral is when you're referring yourself to somebody else. So a Tier 1 is yourself, you're referring to somebody else. A Tier 2 referral is when I'm referring anybody else that I know. Could be a client, it could be a family, friend, spouse, whatever it is. Somebody other than yourself, you're referring to the person in your chapter. I can then put the status. I told Lou that John would be giving him a call. Can put the address in. Telephone number, and the email address. So Lou's Landscaping. All right, and then we can put whatever comments we'd like to in there. So we can describe that referral to John. Lou is looking to have a eco-friendly place to dispose of his clippings. All right, so I can go ahead and save this and submit this. Now you can choose either Submit and New, which is going to submit this one and open a new referral slip. So let's say you have 2, 3, 4 referrals that you have to give right away. You can just submit one and immediately bring up a blank screen without having to go back to the home screen. Or you can just submit this one. Of course, if I hit close, it is going to close out of this and not save it. You can also rate this referral. I forgot that part, so you can go ahead and rate this a 4 and go and submit this. So a couple of things happen. As soon as I click submit, Mr. Barth, my referral partner, he will get an email right away letting him know about that referral. So this really does help to speed up that referral process. I don't even have to make the phone call. It just goes to him right away. Now, this is what one of those referrals actually look like. So here's a sample of that. So this is a referral that I received from somebody in my chapter. His name is Ken Neff. He referred me to the Poliquin group. It was a 4 on the temperature scale. It gave me the address and the phone number and all of the details that I need in order to perform that referral. The nice thing it is that it also gives me Ken's contact information. So if I need to get more information or I need to follow up on this, I can get it right from this email. I don't have to go looking it up, and maybe I don't have his number stored on my phone or something like that. Which brings me to the next point, is that most of these do come to our mobile devices. So we're able to usually just click on the phone number or click on the email address and start that communication process right away. Now, the other thing that happens is that for each one of these slips at the top, there's a complementary Review My Slips report. So for example, submit referral slips, I have a Review My Referral Slips. By default, it's going to show me the last month. Of course, I can choose any time frame I'd like to, but here's 2 reports that or 2 referrals that I've submitted. So I can see that I have this one that I just submitted to John Barth at Lou's Landscaping and all the details about it and the temperature. I can also see these things on the side, the tracking sheet status and the POMS status. Now, what those are is, we'll get to the tracking sheet a little bit later, but John will be able to track the status of this and tell me whether or not it's closed. And once he does that, it will update the status in my report as well. The POMS status means that it lets you know whether or not the vice president has completed the weekly POMS report yet. So in this case, I've just submitted this. Our meeting hasn't happened yet. It happens on Thursdays. So after tomorrow's meeting at some point, my vice president will go in and close out that POMS report, at which point this will change from draft to completed. So if I go ahead and pull this report, let's say that I want to look at every referral that I've ever passed electronically, I can do that by just changing the state. Now, we started using this in 2012, so really I can go any point before 2012. And this will show me every single referral that I've ever submitted online through BNI Connect. So you can see that there's pages and pages of them here. Now, one of the great things about this is that you can really start to analyze your membership in new ways. For example, I can click the To button here. And what this is going to do is it's going to sort it alphabetically. And I can start to look at, who am I giving the most referrals to? If I see a name pop up over and over again on the list, they're probably somebody I'm passing a lot of referrals to. So for example, here's Joseph Sylvia. Joe Sylvia happens to be in my contact sphere. He's the person in my group that does the printer sales, big printers and copiers. So it makes sense that I'm referring him quite a bit of business. But there may be some surprises there as well. So there might be people that you're looking through, like Christy Armstrong, my accountant, I've referred her. There are all these people that you can really start to see who are the best people in your contact sphere. So the other slips you can do as well. So we have the one-to-one slips, for example. I can submit a one-to-one slip. I can record a meeting with somebody in my chapter. Now, one of the other things you can do on most of these slips, for thank you for closed business, for referrals, for one-to-ones, is that you can record this activity with other people within your region. So other chapters, like your neighboring chapters around you. So for example, I can search cross-chapter. Now, there is another member in our region that I tend to do a lot of one-to-ones with. His name is David Cordero. I can never remember whether he's Dave or David, so I'm just going to put the first couple of letters of his name. I can never get his last name right, so I'm going to go ahead and just put his first name in, do search. Now I can look through the results here. And it looks like there's a whole lot of Daves in this region. So let me see if I can sort this out a little further. I can either use this refine button down here to filter the list down. So I'm going to start typing his last name. Oh, there it is, Cordero. So David Cordero, he's in the City Biz chapter, and I want to record a one-to-one with him. And we can see now that it is changed to David Cordero. Keep in mind that you can only do these types of activities or record these activities for POMS credit with other people within your region. So for me, that happens to be anybody here in the Rhode Island area. But depending on where you're located, if you're in, let's say, California, it might be only the people in the California, Los Angeles region or the San Francisco region. At some point in time, hopefully someday, we'll be able to do round the world referrals and get credit for it in the POMS report. Of course, we still recommend that you do business with other BNI members around the world. We just can't record it for credit right now. So I'm going to choose David for this one-to-one. I'm going to choose the location that we met. Maybe we met over at Starbucks for one of those new red cups of coffee. And we can do our topics of conversation. So, we talked about new web placement strategies in Dave's business. Right, and then I can also mark the date. So we met yesterday. The thing with the one-to-ones is only one person needs to put that one-to-one activity in, and it will be recorded in both people's reports. So for example, I can go and now look. Now you'll notice my one-to-ones have not increased from 45 to 46. They stayed the same. The reason for that, again, is that our POMS report have not been submitted yet. They're queued up for this week's meeting. But I can always go back and review my one-to-one slips. And right here we can see I met with Dave Cordero at Starbucks. It seems like I meet at Starbucks quite a bit. And we can look at the topics that we discussed. And again, this is going to be in draft status until the report is submitted. And we can see here that the report finally for May was completed. Keep in mind this is our test system, so your POMS reports will be usually completed on a weekly basis. All right, and of course we have our thank you for closed business slips as well. So we can do the same thing. Let's say that I had received a referral that finally closed. I can mark the revenue that I received and thank the person that generated it. So I'm going to go ahead and choose Elizabeth Berman. She had referred a job that was worth $2,491 in business to my business. And this was a new referral. It was an outside referral. And I can put whatever comments I would like in there. New computers for John's Auto Body. Okay, so I can mark that. A reminder that the comments for this will remain private to you. So you can put client names in there. Nobody else can see those details. Your vice president cannot see those details. Your executive director, your director consultant, myself, I have godlike access to BNI Connect. I cannot see those details for anybody else in the system besides myself. I can go ahead and submit that. And as with all of the other types of slips, we have the review my thank you for closed business. And again, I can change the date and look at this for any length of time and click go, and this will list all of my electronic slips. Now, one thing that is awesome about this report, not just being able to see them and see the details, I'm sure you've had it happen to you where a member comes to you and says, hey, did you ever submit that thank you to me for that client that I referred you to a couple of months ago? Yeah, I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning, let alone whether I submitted that thank you for closed business slip from 1 month, 2 months, 6 months ago, but now I can go back and review it and make sure that I submitted it. The other thing that you can do is, just like with the referrals, you can sort this by thank you to. And you can see who you're thanking for the most business. And sometimes it can be shocking, not the people that you would expect. For example, Angela Moon here, you see that I've thanked her for a significant amount of business, well over $100,000 worth of business. Now, I wouldn't have thought of that because she's really not in my contact sphere. She's the mortgage broker of the group, so mortgage broker, computer guy, not really typically referring a whole lot of business, but this is the value of repeat business. She referred me to a few clients about 5 years ago that are generating somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000 a year in recurring revenue. So over 5 years, it's about $300,000 or so worth of closed business. Perhaps I would like to take her to lunch to make sure that she knows that I still appreciate that continued business. But this is all information that's now accessible to you once you start using the online slips. Of course, as you receive referrals online through BNI Connect, you can track them. So there is a received referrals report where you can just see every referral that people have passed to you electronically. And I can see all of these referrals. But there's also an option here you can see in the middle here that says track your referrals received online. And this is where you get to not only see them, but you can update them. So I'm in the test system right now, so I don't receive a lot of referrals here in the test system. Let's see if I can find some so that I can. Here we go. Here's a couple of referrals. So for example, I had received a referral here to the OLM group. We can see that it's marked as new right now. And if I go in, I can edit this referral, which means that I can go in and add any details that might have been missing. I can re-rate it if I'd like to, but much more importantly, I can update the status of it. And as I showed you before, that status will be shared with my referral partner, Shannon Cuthill. So I can say that this is now closed. It was a closed deal. I contacted them. They had, he had referred me on March 11th. I had contacted them, let's say on April 1st, and I met with them on June 1st, and then I followed up with them again on October 1st. Keep in mind that this does not impact the POMS report. This is really for your own benefit and your own tracking purposes. When I'm all set filling that out, so also as part of that, I can enter thank you for closed business here, but it will not record it in the POMS report. In order to have it recorded in the POMS report, I need to submit an actual slip for that. And the reason that it's done that way is, let me go ahead and submit this. Now that's all updated. But the reason for that is that this tool can also be used to track referrals that you've received that may not have been entered electronically originally. So I can add a new one and add my own referrals that I'd like to track. Maybe they were referred to you outside of BNI. That's okay. You can still use this process if you'd like to use it as a tracking mechanism for those referrals as well. All right, going back to the home screen. One common question that I get asked all the time is, well, if we're doing this all online now, what are we supposed to do at the meeting? And how am I supposed to win the door prize? Well, I want to assure you that the referral and testimonial part of the meeting should stay exactly the same as it always has. We still absolutely 100% want to be standing up at the meeting during this portion of the meeting. And we want to say, I had a referral for this person. I had thank you for closed business. I had a one-to-one with this person. We want to announce and celebrate all of this activity. Now, if you'd like to still pass a piece of paper, that's perfectly okay. Pieces of paper will still be made available, or you can always use this option, print your weekly slips. And this allows me to print out my activity for the week. So you'll see here, if I go to print this, you'll see that the referral slip that I entered is going to print at about the same shape and size as a regular referral slip. That way I can take a pair of scissors, I can cut that out, I can turn it in at the meeting, and it can be chosen for the door prize. It also has the information on it so that it can be used as a referral reality check in the future. It also lists the other information, and you'll notice that the thank you for closed business and the one-to-ones, those are just listed out, and if I had multiple of each of those, they'd just be listed on that sheet. It's not really printing them as an actual slip because there's not really a need to. That information has already been entered into the POMS report, so there's no need to necessarily turn that information into the vice president. But we absolutely still want to announce it, so that's why that is organized there for you. Now, the final slip that I forgot to show you, or neglected to show you earlier, is the CEU slip, and I kind of did that on purpose because what you want to do is make sure you click on Submit a CEU slip right now and give yourself a credit for today's class. So we have the BNI webinar that was accomplished today. Make sure you give yourself 1 credit for today's webinar. And that, my friends, is the online referral process in BNI Connect. What I'd like to do now, we are right at the bottom of the hour, so I'd like to, if anybody does need to leave right away, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for taking time out of your businesses and your days. For anybody on the line, happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service to our country. here in the United States if you happen to be from the United States. If you're elsewhere, also for your service in your own country. That being said, I'd like to open this up for questions. The best way to ask questions, as I mentioned, is to please enter those questions into the questions panel. I will be able to go through those questions now. While you're thinking of those questions, just a reminder, we are recording all of this. It will be made available on the support site as well as on the YouTube channel. In addition, I would absolutely love it if you gave us a like on Facebook. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. Again, that's facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. We do all sorts of tips and tricks, and we share our recordings up there, and we do reminders and all sorts of things. So please do check us out up on Facebook as well. Let's see, Heidi says, I'm brand new. Congratulations. Thank you for joining us at BNI. Says, what's a CEU? A CEU stand for Chapter Education Units. So Chapter Education Units. And what they are is, it's a way of tracking really how much time you've invested in learning more about BNI, learning more about networking, attending networking events, things like that. Now you'll see that these are broken into certain categories. You know, we have the BNI CDs, which are available as part of your chapter library or from your regional office, or the SuccessNet, which is the newsletter that you receive once a month via email. If you're brand new, you'll probably be receiving that next month. There's also podcasts, if you go to bnipodcast.com and things like today's webinar. Now you'll see that there's credits. Now the credits roughly equate to how much time you're investing in the activity. For example, the podcasts are about 10 to 12 minutes each. So 5 podcasts, it takes about an hour, which is why it's 1 credit here. Things like the advanced training modules, those are generally 3 to 4 hour classes. That's why it's a 4-hour credit. It takes about 5 hours cumulatively to read a book. So that's the reasoning behind the credits. That being said, we can't possibly list every single type of networking event and learning opportunity and things like that. So use your best judgment and use approximately the amount of time that you spent learning or participating in that education activity. So Heidi, does that help? Lori asks, do I automatically document and confirm taking the webinar? These webinars, unfortunately, because they're not tied into BNI Connect for the registration process, unfortunately, I don't have a way to take attendance for them and have it show up in BNI Connect. That being said, you are welcome to submit a CEU for yourself. This one won't show up on your profile. However, if you would like it on your profile, just do me a favor, email me, support@bniconnect.com, and I will manually add it for you as a thank you for being here. All right, does that help, Lori? But again, there's really no easy way, automatic way for me to do that. Karen says, how do we sign up to get SuccessNet? I've been a member for just under a year, do not receive that. So easy way to do that, go to bnisuccessnet.com. bnisuccessnet.com, or you can just do a search for BNI SuccessNet. Now, right here, this is the online version of the newsletter, which you're welcome to just go and take a look at it. Really, the newsletter that you get via email is a reminder to go to the website and look at it. Just go ahead and enter your address here in the subscribe field in the upper right-hand corner, and you will be signed up to receive the monthly newsletter. It's as easy as that. Does that help, Karen? And congratulations on your almost 1-year anniversary. Let's see. Lori says, I like this online system. However, my chapter does not love it. Can you or someone do a 30-minute training to help me encourage? I would love to do that, Lori. Why don't you shoot me an email separately? support@bniconnect.com. I would be happy to arrange something. I'd have to work with your director consultant and or your executive director to make something like that happen. Happy to do that though. The other thing that you can do, of course, is to share this video with them. This is being recorded. In about a day or so, it will be up on the YouTube channel. You can share the link, or if you just, again, click the question mark in BNI Connect. So again, in BNI Connect, just click this question mark. That will take you over to the support site, and right here, now keep in mind, I do these webinars every single month. I already have the December ones listed. So this webinar in December is going to be on Monday, December 7th at the same time. The other option is you can just have your chapter attend that webinar that's already scheduled for next month. If you'd like to view the recordings, right here you'll see at the top recorded webinars. I will have the November one listed here very shortly, probably by the end of the week. So you'll be able to share this one. Does that make sense, Lori? So hopefully that helps. Lori says, I'm the new VP, so this sounds like heaven. It is heaven for VPs. Let me show you what this means to VPs. Now, as I mentioned, I am a member. I'm an active member, been a VP before, been a president before. It takes a long time to enter the POMS report, counting up all the slips and marking them off and filling out that big long spreadsheet that is the POMS report. Oh, John had a one-to-one with Susie. Scroll up, scroll down, enter a one. Just takes a while. Now, my chapter's about 50 members. It could take anywhere from an hour to 90 minutes at times to sort all those slips out and enter them. So here's how you enter the POMS report, right? You go to Operations. For those of you that are on the call with us, we're gonna go to the scary place beyond the home page here. So Operations chapter, and this is where we do most of our chapter management. So we're gonna go to Meeting Management, and I'm gonna go and view the POMS summary. Now what I'd like to do is show you, again, this is my chapter. Our meeting is tomorrow. We meet on Thursday mornings. So what happens is as your chapter is submitting slips during the week, they'll be entered automatically into this draft report for the week. So right now, again, without having had the meeting yet, we've already entered all of this activity for tomorrow's meeting. And there's a little button here, the Slips Audit Report, where you can see all of those details of what has been entered. Now in my chapter, we are 100% electronic. If it did not get entered into BNI Connect, it does not exist in our chapter. So really all my VP has to do every week is go in, mark the attendance, and submit the report. All of the rest of the data is in there. So if you love your VP, all the people that are on the call today, if you love your VP, start using this process and encourage your chapter to do the same. But again, it's not just about the VP. This has a lot of benefits to you as well. So hopefully that helps, Lori, and thank you for sharing that. All right, Lori's was the last question I have on my screen. Does anybody else have any questions? I would love to answer those questions now. All right, if there is no additional questions, what I'm going to do is thank you once again. Thank you guys so much for being here today. A good referral for me. Please let other people know, as many people as you can know about these webinars. We're going to be continuing this 5-part series. We're going to be continuing it on Friday. Same time, same bat channel, 3 o'clock Eastern. And we're going to be talking about connecting with other members. And connecting with other members, that's the social media side. We're going to be talking about connections and testimonials and participating in the discussion groups. And then next week, we'll have our final 2 in this series. We're going to talk about the member tools and reports. We're going to do what we just did and go a little deeper beyond the home page and look at some of the other things that are available in BNI Connect. And finally, on Tuesday of next week, we're going to go through the visitor process with you and how to invite visitors and how to record them in the system. And then for the upcoming weeks, we have some leadership team ones available as well, and things like updating your chapter webpage. Bridget, my email address, support@bniconnect.com, support@bniconnect.com. Heidi has a last minute question. She says, how do you work dollars earned? Is it commission or what the product or service cost? So here's my suggestion. Go to the support site and type in slips overview into the search. This will bring you the slips overview help article. And at the bottom of this article, here's the thank you for closed business official reporting guidelines and what it's recommended that you report on. The short story is that essentially it is gross receipts to your business. So gross receipts to your business. So in the case of, let's say, a real estate agent, you're not reporting the price of the house. So you're not reporting $300,000. What you're reporting on is the gross commissions to your business. So unless you're a broker, you're splitting those commissions with the office and paying rent and advertising fees and all that kind of stuff. So it would be that gross, 5% on the house, not the maybe 1 or 2 or 3% that you would make personally. Does that make sense, Heidi? Again, there's a whole lot of nuances to that, but generally speaking, it's gross receipts to your company. Lori says, what language did you use? Language, we don't like to say it's paperless because there's still the paper. We still are either printing out our referral slips and passing those at the meeting, or we are going in and we'll still have referral slips at the meeting and maybe we want to fill those out. Just put an X through them so that the VP knows that it's already been turned in online. But again, it's not a paperless process. It's just we're all online at this point. Again, our terminology, what we say in our chapter, if it wasn't entered into BNI Connect, then it didn't happen. So does that make sense, Lori? Does that help? All right. So last chance. Any questions? Any final questions? Going once? Going twice? All right. On that note, thank you guys so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you on a future webinar. Happy connecting.